Hi everybody, welcome to Branch Water Tavern, a great place to have a wonderful meal, a super spot to hang out with friends. I love the comfy bar they have here, lots of selections and lots of room to kind of spread out and get comfortable. I'm with the chef, David Grossman, and owner, award-winning place, and you guys are starting something new that I love. Oysters are in season, but you're actually adding a raw bar.
That's right, we're starting a raw bar. We're going to highlight Gulf oysters, but we're also going to have oysters from around the country, as well as crab and lobster as it comes in season.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. It's casual. Come in, have a drink, have a little something to eat, and stay for dinner.
That's right.
That's the whole idea, and it's a great idea. Now, you've got a selection of oysters here. Around the holidays, for a lot of folks, oysters are a tradition, whether you put them in a stuffing or the raw oyster is a Christmas tradition, right?
Absolutely. The ideal time of year to eat oysters. The water's nice and cold, and the oysters are storing a lot of fat, which makes them more salty, more buttery, and very plump and firm.
Yeah, nothing beats a bottle of wine with friends and a few dozen oysters. You
Absolutely.
got a meal. It's a good deal. Okay, so you're going to tell us about some of the oysters you have here and actually show us what to look for.
What we have here today are some Connecticut Blue Points, some James River oysters from Virginia, and some oysters from our very own backyard from the Gulf of Mexico.
Which are at their peak right now.
That's right.
It's time for Gulf oysters. Now, what do you look for when an oyster is served to you? There's certain qualities you look for to make sure it's fresh, that it's still got some of the brine in there, right?
Sure. I mean, you can see we have some beautiful oysters here today. They're nice and plump. You can see there's lots of the clear oyster liquor. And if you smell them, they smell very fresh, like the ocean, and they smell like the ocean from where they're from.
Gotcha. So if you get served raw oysters and they're dry as a bone, send them back.
It's probably not something you want to eat.
Yeah, that's always in the back of my mind, and luckily that just doesn't happen very often at all. Okay, so how do you compare the Gulf oysters to what we would get off on the East Coast?
Now the difference is as we get colder, the water gets colder, the oysters themselves become saltier, more briny. Mm-hmm. So we start out here in Texas, which this time of year, the water's starting to cool down, so they're getting more briny. But even so, as we move north to Virginia, the oysters become saltier, more minerally, and even more so in Connecticut with the Blue Points. And our Gulf oysters, which we absolutely adore here in Texas, are buttery, rich, sometimes a little sweet. So those are sort of the differences that we see in oysters.
Yeah, and often they're a little bigger, right? So
absolutely.
Instead of splurging on 2 dozen, you might get by with 1.
That's right.
All right, and if you are adventurous enough to try these at home, there is a knack to opening them, right?
True.
And so we're going to do that right now. We hope.
That's right, we're going to do it right now. So why don't you try this one, because I think you'll have a little bit better luck with the smaller oyster. And the oysters themselves, the oyster will tell you where to open it. Right here, that's where you want to put your knife. Then you want to remember always that the abductor muscle is right here and you want to cut it. So what I do, I don't go like that, I go like that. So I'm just going to move my knife to the side a little bit.
Twist.
Pop open the oyster, and then work my knife up, slanted to cut the abductor muscle. And it doesn't happen always like this, but we did a nice job of opening the oyster.
And I'm proof that it doesn't happen always like that. I got mine in where it's supposed to go, but this one's going to take a little work. Chef, thank you so much again. It's Branch Water Tavern, a new raw bar. Oysters are in season. It's a great time of year to come enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.